Hi guys, welcome back to the Hill Project. We are back with our weekly wrestling podcast over here on the Wrestling Channel. As always, boys, how are we?
Tired.
Yeah, I'm right.
Are you sure? Phil. Yeah, you specifically you.
No, I'm fine. No, I'm.
You've had a good week, mate. You're 120 quid up. What are you moaning?
Well,
what are you moaning
at? As always, it goes in one hand and out straight out the other.
It was 120 quid, mate. It's 120 quid that I don't have. It's 120 quid that Ling don't have. It's 120 quid that Pete don't have.
120 quid I didn't see for very long.
That ain't my problem. You got 120 quid.
I did. Oh yeah.
I feel like we're missing something as well, boys.
Yeah, we put him at home. It's fine.
Which is because he was forgetting about things. In all fairness.
Yeah.
He's old now as well.
So
yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Former members of the No Quarter Catch crew, we've killed Pete, and he's now in a home.
For very different reasons. Pete's just old. I will want to point that one out. I will want to point that out. But what?
Only half of them had issues. It wasn't.
Okay.
They've done it to people that haven't had issues like that.
Okay.
That's not.
All right. I was a bit worried about where we were going with it.
It's funny, really, because we all say that Pete's old, but he's literally like months, if that.
So there we go. Phil's old is the new thing that we need to remember.
Yeah. I'm older than you think.
So the new member is actually the old member.
Yeah. He's old.
Oh. So, shall we chat about some NXT to start off with?
Hey, we might as well. It's the first thing on the running order, and to be fair, as they're watching it, it's on tomorrow night. Or tonight? No, last night.
Last night. Yeah, it's the one. We're sorry. It's the one. We'll say it every week. It's the one that's a bit out of sync. So we watched NXT last week. Not a bad NXT. Not the best NXT, but it was alright. It wasn't as good as the pay-per-view running, but yeah, it's never going to be with a weekly show.
So they had a lot of intertwining stuff here as well. Like I think that's the thing throughout WWE at the moment. There's a lot of their stuff seems to like intertwine throughout the night.
What do you mean in terms of stories, or
they're not so much intertwining the stories? It's just they seem to have segments that are later on, and it's just they've got actual build within the show as well, rather than just.
I know what you mean.
This bit of build this week, and then next week you'll get the next bit of build, and then next week you'll get the next bit of build in like chunks.
Or
whereas
go
on, sorry.
No, carry on.
Whereas now we're sort of getting a little bit here and then a little bit later, and we're seeing stuff in the background, which is something that's going to happen later, and it's all within the same week, building and flowing towards the next thing. It's a much better style, and I'm really enjoying how they're doing it with that.
Well, what we used to have with go on, Phil. Go on. I heard you. Go on, Phil.
It's fine. No, go on. Because you wanted to go in first.
It would work so much better if we actually had an actual studio to do this in. But there we are. No, it
on one day.
It's the way that they've changed it, because it used to be that they'd have like a segment, and then the segment would either go into a match or something else happening towards that segment. But instead, what we have now is we have segment for one thing, then we'll go to maybe a segment for another thing, and then maybe there's a random match thrown in, and then they'll come back to that related segment from the first part, which is I really like, which is miles better than what they had, which was just segment into match, segment into match, segment into match, which is a bit boring. Go on, Phil.
So is it like essentially that they're building a show rather than a collection of wrestling matches? Is that what you mean?
I think so, yeah. They seem to be building the weekly shows more to make the weekly shows mean something, rather than just the weekly shows being just a collection of build to the next pay-per-view, which is what it's been for years, to be fair.
No, it makes sense.
Well, shall we start sort of with the Rascals reuniting on NXT this week? That was interesting to see Wesley, Nash Carter and all that back together and whatnot.
was
Zachary
unexpected.
Wentz.
It was unexpected because obviously he was fired from WWE, wasn't he?
He was.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
So yeah, the last thing I expected was to see him back in WWE. Although
I'm just about to ask, when, how long ago was it since he's been on? 2 years.
it's only a couple of years.
Yeah. I feel like that's long enough that it maybe isn't that much of a surprise with them working with TNA, which I'll be honest seems to be a big theme over the last few weeks with NXT. Big theme.
But he wasn't released. He was fired. Like they fired him for a reason.
Oh.
Like if it was just a release, then it's like, yeah, fair enough.
What did he get fired for?
I don't think we should discuss that on the podcast.
Ah. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Okay.
I've just read it. Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa!
And now I feel with that reaction, we kind of need to discuss it a little bit. So,
Whoa! No, I'm not even sure I want to mention that guy's name. Wow. No, we'll move on because. Wow. Wow. Do your own research. All you got to do is just have a little look on Nash Carter's Wikipedia and you'll find it.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was. I mean, it gives Wesley something to do. In all fairness, don't we think?
It does, and obviously it's flowed both ways. They did end up like a little spoiler alert because I've put it in the news for later in the I've put it in the news for the TNA new results and things. They are teasing that Wesley's going to be going to TNA as well to have matches down there. So it goes both ways, I guess.
Well, it's hardly surprising considering he's not allowed to compete for the title anymore. So gives him something to do. Oh, what we got next week? Next week we got Duke Hudson versus Obafemi for the North American. I can't say I'm.
Should be decent.
Duke Hudson's okay. Obafemi's phenomenal.
Sorry, anything with him in is going to be awesome. To be honest, should be decent. He's so good. I love that guy.
Link, what's your take on that?
On Obafemi, great.
Duke Hudson,
great. Like Duke Hudson. Do you know what? This was actually a really good match. It will be a really good match, I should say.
Yeah.
So
it was a good match because this was technically out after the match happened.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
I mean, this by the way is what if we remember, Bridge Holland said.
Bridge Holland, yeah.
Yeah, Bridge Holland. If you remember, Bridge Holland said that he was working on something, which is why he wasn't at the pay per view. This is what he was working on, so he got this match for Duke for the title.
Yeah.
And he's also got something for oh god, what's wrong with my brain? What's the name? The
what?
Come on, help me out. The woman in
in
Chase
charge.
U.
Oh,
the woman in Chase U.
God no, God no. Yeah, the woman. We'll go with her for the second.
How has that gone?
Thea Hale.
Thea Hale, that's the one.
I was like, I can describe her to you. I wouldn't be able to
I could have told you pretty much every storyline she's been in for the last several months, but I couldn't for the life of me remember her name.
She's still only 20, by the way. That's mental.
She's really good as well. Like she's definitely on her way up there.
She's not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So I mean, it's not. We know the result. That's going to end in an Obafemi win, regardless. But
oh yeah, definitely. Well, actually,
no, don't.
No, because one of the things they've been doing with Duke is that Duke has been. So Duke is like your baby face, and Bridge is kind of a heel.
Yeah.
But he's kind of doing sneaky things to help Duke win without Duke knowing.
Yeah.
So it's possible that Bridge screws Oba and Duke gets the win to win the title, which would be mad, but it is possible.
I was going to say, is it when's Oba due his push to the main?
I think
is this
I
too
think they
early?
need him in NXT more than he needs to go to the main roster. In all honesty,
Right.
I think
That's
so too.
my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like, I think there's enough monsters on the main roster right now with people like Jacob Fatu and.
Oh, we were talking about it. We'll get to that because we were talking about it last night on Raw and Bites from SmackDown on Friday. We'll lead on with the next part, Link, because I know.
So Brooks Jensen, the guy that's been for the last several months teasing that he was fired, wasn't fired. They did a bit where they basically invited him last week. I don't know if you remember. We spoke about it. That he'd be there this week, and he spoke with Ava, and he was apologising for everything and saying, "Look, he really wants to make this work." He then later on took out Javon Evans backstage, just because Javon Evans was the fourth man in the tag team match, teaming with. Why is my brain not working today? Teaming with the former champion.
I'm so confused about
whose name is gone. Come on, someone help me out here.
For which bit?
The main event, the champion. Who was the champion just before?
Trick Williams.
Thank you, Trick Williams. There we go. Yes. So Javon Evans was supposed to be teaming with Trick Williams to take on Sean Spears and oh my God, Ethan Page. This is painful today.
It's one of them days. Don't worry about it. It's one of them days.
Yeah, so Brooks Jensen took out Javon Evans backstage.
That's the one.
They gave him a bit of an argument. Ava came out, and eventually it was booked for Brooks versus Javon Evans next week on the show. Jason Briggs, I want to say.
Yep, Jason Briggs.
Yeah. Jason Briggs says that he'll be there because he was the one that vouched for Brooks, which is the only reason that he wasn't fired. But Brooks just says, no, he wants to do it on his own and walks off. So I think Brooks is kind of a heel at the moment-ish, and Briggs is supposed to be the face, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but
it's a weird vibe between them. Obviously, they'd split as a tag team, Brooks and Jensen.
They've been playing it very fast and loose with who's what in any way, all over the company, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else we got then?
We got the murder.
Oh yeah, that happened last week. Yeah, this is the issue. Oh yeah. Look, I can see you doing that. Wee.
Yeah.
Yeah, the murder happened.
Yeah, so the No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey and the other two, Miles, and I forgot the new guy's name already, and I'll never remember it, so someone else can say it if they can look it up.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't really. But Damon Kemp, the guy, obviously was
Gabe Stevenson's brother.
He's been released from the company or told that he won't be renewed on his contract, so they're not putting him on TV anymore. He's gone from the company, so they did a segment this week where they were loading him into a boot. It wasn't him; it was just implied heavily that he was in this boot, and they were getting rid of a body, basically. So yeah, he's a corpse.
Right.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Drew Gulak, name redacted,
for very very different reasons.
When he got fired, they did the same thing with him. They used the family, and they got them to whack him, and that's why they needed to pay their bills, which has led to the whole storyline where Tony D'Angelo won the Heritage Cup from Charlie Dempsey. That's what built to all of that. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't think there's much more to that. It's a weird thing, but hey, at least they've explained it, and he's gone, he's disappeared, and he won't be back. Like, you know, they've tried to put a story to it and continue something with it, at least.
I've just seen this, and I've missed that.
Yeah.
Go on, how's that happened?
So obviously,
Cedric, is that the Cedric Alexander?
Yeah, Cedric Alexander. So obviously, Ava has two assistants, not Roderick Strong, Stone, Mr. Stone.
Yeah, Mr. Stone.
And I don't know the lady's name. I'm sorry. I've never caught it, and I still don't know it. Basically, Stone had brought in Cedric and got him to come in and sign his contract with NXT, so he's now officially with NXT. And just afterwards, she was like, "Oh, that's good," and then brought in Ashanti Diadonis to go and sign as well. So they're trying to one up each other. Ironic that they're both a tag team and they've both signed on the same day. It's like, well, yeah,
they're doing something with it at least.
Surely you know, but yeah, it is what it is. Ashanti and Cedric are now both in NXT. Probably where they belong, if I'm honest.
I like Cedric. I like Cedric. So, and like in terms of wrestling, he's great.
He's good in the ring.
In terms of the rest, I'm not sure it's there yet. So maybe being where he is at NXT is spot on. Gallus versus Rascals next week.
That'll be fun.
That'll
be fun.
That'll be mint.
I'm hoping that's just 3 Scottish blokes beating the living daylights out of 3 little stoners. To be honest with you,
yeah.
That's just
that should be on the poster.
I mean, speaking of Scottish people, Joe Hendry was the mystery partner.
Oh my god, I'm so shocked.
Who said his name?
I know.
It was obvious, wasn't it? Like as soon as Javon got took out, and not only that, but we had the build the face turn where the white screen, he just looked at you, and it was over and over again on all the adverts for the show. Yes, Joe Hendry was the mystery partner for Trick Williams, replacing Javon Evans in that match, which the crowd really popped for. Ironically, who would have thought? It was a good moment, but it was very, very predictable.
It's spot on. That's spot on. But again, then Oro Mensah chased Ethan Page out of the arena in that match, leaving him with spears.
It's not a spot I was really expecting with that, because obviously Oro Mensah he's always been a bit of a jokey character rather than a serious character.
He should be a serious character though, because he's another decent sized bloke.
He is good as well. Like he's not bad in the ring. Obviously, him versus Ethan Page is just Ethan Page's first defense. I think is going to happen with that. I don't think he's a serious threat for the world title. But it is what it is. It'll be fun, and with a bit of luck, it'll lead to the return of Noam Dar at some point, because obviously it's part of Metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he chased him out, and then we got the 2-on-1 attack on Sean Spears with Hendry eventually
winning,
hitting the choke slam, which I didn't expect to see. I'm guessing I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen a lot of Joe Hendry's moves.
That's what's going to ask. I was literally about to ask. Is that his normal moveset? Like
I believe
it's a very strange move for a guy Joe Hendry's size as a choke slam, but we saw the Hurricane use the choke slam back in the day. So what am I to?
Who am I to
judge? He did.
True enough. Right, from a week ago, basically, well, over a week ago now. Well, that's sort of what rounded up NXT. We'll move on to SmackDown, and I'm trying. Even Friday at the minute, I'm going so long ago. In my brain, I've had such a busy week. If I remember rightly, SmackDown was it was all right, but that was it.
It wasn't the biggest storytelling with SmackDown, was it? Like
no,
it just felt a bit like okay.
I thought Raw last Monday night was better than SmackDown, to be honest, which I wasn't expecting. Yeah. LA Knight, Logan Paul, we'll just sort of move past that because it's a match that's been building for ages, and I've got to that point. I don't care for it now.
Nick Aldis wasn't there again.
Nick Aldis hasn't been there for a couple of weeks, has he?
No, I think he's had an injury that he was getting surgery for. I don't know if he's still out because of that or not. So,
yeah, I was about to say maybe Adam Pearce is going to need him as backup eventually. They're going to have to have the two managers pairing together to deal with these rosters, because these rosters are kind of manic at the minute, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair statement.
We did during the night. We had Tiff teasing cashing in on Bayley as well after Bayley. Which way round was that? Bayley lost her match? Won her match?
I don't even remember if she had a match.
She had a match because that was the reason that Tiff was out there, wasn't it? Oh, I'm gonna check. Carry on. Anyway, we'll carry on chatting about what happened in that segment. Anyway, whilst I'm just checking.
Was it not Nia versus?
Oh, it could have been. It was Nia versus Mia Yim. There you go. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But Bailey was out there.
Yeah, Bailey came to.
She came out to
Mia
rescue.
Yim for
That's
some
it.
reason.
That's it. Yeah. Well, how Mia Yim's managed to push herself into the world title picture, I don't know. Hopefully that is all it is. That she's just the world champion's mate, and that never goes further.
Yeah. So basically, she's just stolen Naomi's spot.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah. Nia Jax defeated Mia Yim, though. We had a bit of a beatdown on Bailey after from Tiff as well with Nia. And then Tiff gave it a little tease, which I think we're going to get for a while now. I'm glad they aren't pulling the trigger on that for a while.
The way that Nia stopped her was really good. She just kind of walked back up and looked to like, what are you doing?
It was very good.
It was very good.
We said that on the stream, didn't we, about the women's cash in that we wanted
on the Money in the Bank one, yeah.
Yeah, we wanted it to run a bit because it doesn't really happen that often. So
yeah, they have just completely stolen what I pitched, which is it's okay.
No, they didn't. They changed the
names. Yeah,
they changed the names, and that gets away with being able to do the homework. A couple of okay matches on that card as well. Before we move to the sort of the main event, was obviously the main thing of SmackDown again, as always. We had Baron Corbin and now Apollo Crews teaming together, which is odd in itself. But Blair Davenport versus Naomi, DIY versus A-Town Down Under for the tag titles.
In a rematch, yeah.
In a rematch, and obviously DIY came out on top on that. No surprise.
No, they just did a bit more of the tease for the eventual split of A-Town Down Under, didn't they? I think that's where that whole story seems to be pushing towards. But it wouldn't shock me if it doesn't happen.
Oh, that's true. However, this was done with the post-match segment in mind. Jacob Fatu came out and decimated everyone except Waller. He made a quick escape when his partner was taken out. That was true. I'd forgot about that. That he just scarpered and left Theory there.
Yeah.
Savage, because that was supposed to be the main event, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And then we had the Bloodline segment after which is the right way to do things, is to put the segment on last rather than the match. But hey,
but last night they had it the wrong way round.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Again, we had Bloodline, we had Orton, we had Cody. It was manic, just manic.
I just saying, the way that Jacob Fatu is used as a difference maker. I know I mentioned it last night when we were streaming, but like every time the face team, so Cody and Orton, took any sort of advantage and got on top of things, Jacob Fatu would fly out of nowhere and stop it. Like, so Orton was on the outside with Tama and Tonga.
Tama and Tonga,
not Tama Tonga. Yeah. And Jacob Fatu flew through the ropes at Orton and shut that down. Once they got back on control, Cody managed to punch Solo like twice to try and take back his thing. And within seconds, Jacob Fatu was back in the ring, hitting Cody again so that Solo could take back control. He's everywhere. Like, the guy flies around so quickly. He is the focal point and the difference maker in the whole battle, and I think that's they're putting that across really well.
Who was it that said that Jacob Fatu is going to be the world champion before Solo?
Pete. Oh no, it was you. Okay, I thought it was Pete.
Oh well, fair play, mate.
Actually, to be fair, I did say he would be world champion before Bron Breakker.
Oh, okay.
You also said it was Pete that said before the Bloodline story ended, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's mental, because that would mean he'd have to be the tribal chief, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Which isn't going to happen. So it's Nah,
I don't see that. I don't see that personally. But again, that's set up nicely for Solo versus Cody, which again, we're stacking this SummerSlam card if they're going to throw in all these matches. So we got Priest Gunther, Bailey Nia, Liv Rhea, which we'll get to, Solo versus Cody, and there was another really good one. Oh, well, not a good one. There was Logan Paul versus LA Knight. There's also another good one that was supposed to, that we thought might happen. We might get to that on Raw, actually. But,
SummerSlam's looking really good. It's only 2.5 weeks away.
The IC match. We was thinking the IC match is going to happen.
Hey, it's going to happen. We'll get to that. It's on Raw.
That's going to be a stacked SummerSlam. Right. Unfortunately, this was the week that, and I will just own up, because otherwise we'll sit here and I'll be like, oh, right, yeah, and I'll pretend that I caught any of it. I didn't catch any of AEW this week. Link, would you like to take us through AEW, mate? You normally have Pete with you, which is unfortunate that he's not here this week.
There's not much I can talk about with talking to myself, so essentially all I can do is go through the running order. So MJF and Ospreay are going to have a match for the International Championship.
That should be good.
I don't know when that's going to be, but it's going to happen. Ospreay's using the word bruv less. That was genuinely a thing I noticed during it. Because that was literally his move he said it at the end of every sentence, didn't he? It was really annoying. But he doesn't do it so much anymore. It does seem that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Daniel Bryan obviously beat Hangman Adam Page for the Owen Hart Cup final, which Martha Hart came out to give the award to him.
I don't think that's the right move. Well, it's going to have to be if Nigel McGuinness isn't on the cards.
Well, yeah, Nigel McGuinness on commentary for this whole match was doing what Nigel McGuinness does best, and just saying that Daniel Bryan's terrible and an awful human, and just taking as many digs at him as possible. It was great.
I mean, it's fair.
There was a lot of blood in this match, like a lot of blood, which I didn't expect, if I'm honest, from the final of the Cup thing, especially with Martha Hart coming out straight away afterwards to give the awards. I just didn't expect all the blood, but there was a lot of blood in this match. It's good though. We're building for Blood and Guts, speaking of blood, which is happening on
a Wednesday. Wednesday.
Is it next Wednesday? I know.
Next Wednesday.
I wrote it down. So the 24th.
Yep. That's it.
So
it's a pay-per-view, but not a pay-per-view, is it? Is this what it is?
Yeah, essentially.
One of those specials.
But we are doing coverage for that over on our Twitch.
Twitch.tv/The Heel Project.
Can't remember who's joining me for it, but we will be doing it. And Dan's joining me for it, okay. And then, obviously, we'll be talking about it on the podcast next week, because it'll be... it should be very good, but we're doing Team Elite versus Team AEW with... Swerve Strickland stepping up to say that he's going to lead Team AEW.
Oh, okay.
Match, which makes sense. He is the world champion, and he is a face now who breaks into people's houses and exposes really bad fathers. Apparently, it's strange. It's strange. He also says that he's going to end Daniel Bryan's career at All In, because obviously now he's won the Owen tournament. He gets the world title match at All In.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, yeah. No, Daniel Bryan now gets... Yeah, I got it right. Right. Yep. Jericho drove Samoa Joe through a wall using a forklift truck.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was a street fight match thing between the Learning Tree and Samoa Joe and his. It was mental. Like, it was absolutely mental. There's just nonsense going on everywhere. Genuinely a really fun, just spot fest of stunts and random things. It was very good. It's like the old hardcore matches that you'd get back in WWF way back when. It was really good though. Ending with a fork truck, so you know it's good. We then moved on to the Fatal 4-Way match to become the number one contender for the International Championship, the same International Championship that Ospreay's just agreed that he's going to face MJF for.
So MJF's the number one contender, but
MJF is the number one contender, but now we're getting the number one contender for after this number one contender, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a weird...
Yeah.
What? What?
What?
I don't get it.
Having a number one
Confused.
contender for it's a number two contender then, surely, no?
It was. I don't understand why they had this match this week. It doesn't. It didn't make sense. But the Fatal 4-Way match was really good. To be fair, if you look at the participants that were in it, it's not a surprise. You know, you've got Claudio, you've got Pac, you've got two others that I can't remember. But that sounds really bad. It was a genuinely great match. Pac did end up coming out with the win as well. So, brilliant match. May. So Mariah May. I was like, what?
Who is Matt? Who is Matt?
So my own spelling, because I've written the notes here, my own spelling has completely done me there. But yes, Mariah May won the women's Owens Hart tournament. There was lots of shenanigans within the match. Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, or whatever his name is, had bits in the match and stuff. Mercedes Moné comes out, talks about herself, completely botches Bret Hart's catchphrase, and then Britt Baker chases her off. Yeah, just
I've seen that. It's
the less
so
of her,
bad.
the better.
Yeah.
Hangman joins Team Elite for Blood and Guts,
which
later on in the night.
I do have the teams. I do have the teams for Blood and Guts as well now, by the way.
Oh, go on then, because I don't know.
So it's Okada, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Adam Page, and Jack Perry on the Elite, and then Team AEW as of tonight, as of right now, Swerve Strickland and Mark Briscoe are the only two. So there's still three more to be announced, probably tonight on AEW.
Okay.
Cool.
We then move on to our main event, I guess, the end of the show anyway. So Mariah May being presented with her Owen Hart title belt. Obviously, Martha Hart hands her the belt, and then she decides to use the belt to nail Toni Storm. She nails Toni Storm, busts her open. She then throws Luther off the stage through two tables.
Poor Luther.
And she just continued to. She took a shoe off and continued to just beat Toni Storm with her own shoe. Yeah, it's quite brutal. But yes, the show ended with Toni Storm crying, just covered in blood.
Oh, was it in black and white though? It should have been, because then you could put it up on YouTube, so and they could still get away with it.
I mean, it's a fair argument.
So it's like double whammy. It's timeless Toni Storm, and it's safe for YouTube because it's not blood.
But it was very predictable. We all knew that it was going to be May versus Storm for Thing as well. Like it's the whole of AEW show really. I was going to say it's very predictable, but we can't even work out what the hell happened with half of it, with MJF and Ospreay having the same match that also.
No. There's predictable, and then there's stuff that doesn't make sense. That's stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, you can't predict it if it doesn't make sense.
True, I suppose. Yeah, no, you're not wrong, but that's just a bit mental.
Yeah.
So this week we had no pay-per-views this week.
No pay-per-views at all this week.
So we are straight back on to Raw Talk, which was last night.
Right. Before we move on, and while we're talking about pay-per-views, PLEs.
All right. Well, PLEs,
they are called PLEs now.
Or WWE, they are. WWE for AEW, they're still pay-per-views. They're definitely not premium live events, because I'm fairly sure that is just a WWE thing. In fact, I'm looking here. They still call them pay-per-views in AEW.
Okay. I don't think it is just a WWE thing though.
It might not be.
I think it's because they've got their own network.
What do AEW call their pay-per-views?
Pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's just gonna come up with that, isn't it?
But I'm pretty sure like New Japan are premium live events because they're on the same network as their weekly shows. So you're not paying extra for that one show. The same with TNA now because they've got their own network.
Well, DAZN refers to them as pay-per-views, so and obviously they're on the zone, so I'd imagine it is pay-per-views.
I think a lot of people will still refer to things as pay-per-views regardless, because it's just the way it's been for so many years. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd make a note of that. It is PLEs now for a lot of things.
To change it. Right, not AEW. Raw was fun last night.
Raw was fun last night, and I'm not gonna lie, I wrote the notes in a rush this morning, and I've probably not done it justice. So
no, because a lot of it, again, I think it's that top line. That top line that you've put there is more than enough. It intertwined so much last night, and realistically, not a major amount happened in 3 hours. But because it was so intertwined, and there was bits that happened here, there, and everywhere, it was mainly the Rhea Dominic Mysterio show last night.
Yeah.
And I was here for it. It was hilarious. The main segments we had. I'm just going to break down the main segments, and we'll get to them all. So we had Dom and Rhea and Liv triangle, which Liv promo, very good. We had Sheamus and Big, and then Pete Dunne. They sort of come together, and that's creating more storylines there. We had Braun ruining things. Realistic. Oh, and then we had Bo and Chad Gable. They were realistically, that was your sort of core structure of what happened last night. They were all things around those four things, realistically.
Yeah. Yeah, we obviously had the McIntyre bit as well.
Yeah, we did. Who got involved? Yeah, it was Seth. But again, that's another weird one. Why did Seth get involved? Right, we'll get to it. So yeah, we had a lot of funny moments last night with Rhea and Dom. Rhea started off by... Did we start off with Rhea coming out first?
I think we did, yeah.
And Dom trying to make amends with Liv popping up on the screen and then cutting one of the best promos I've seen from Liv with Rhea.
Something changed with Liv last night. I genuinely thought that she was really good. Like, and I've
that says a lot.
Long time have said that Liv is just awful and should go away.
No, I agree. She was
genuine last night. Yeah, spot on. Exactly what she should have been doing for the last several years. Really, really good.
But but again, with it sort of culminated at the end anyway, with eventually Rhea chasing Liv out of the building with all sorts of shenanigans. Dominic had a match against Jey Uso because Jey Uso said that to sell Dominic hi to Mammy, and Dominic
was excited that she was single, ready to mingle,
and Dominic took offense by that, and he felt like he should defend her honor because he belonged to her. He doesn't mean he belongs to her, but he belongs to her. And Carlito said, "That's not cool." Which I thought was really funny.
Carlito was on fire throughout this show. Like, really, really funny guy.
There was so many funny little bits. But again, it's that intertwining that almost makes it think... I almost definitely miss bits. But that's
do you know what it is? Do you know what the intertwining does? If you're only interested in one thing of the show, which, to be fair, a lot of the time that is what's going to happen. Yeah. It's not just done within the first 10 minutes of the show and then you don't watch for the rest of the 3 hour show. Yeah.
Which is what concerned me when they opened with it.
But it makes the whole 3 hours go faster because you're not just... So sometimes, I'm going to be a bit candid about this, sometimes with Raw, you watch the first half an hour or so, you've seen the bit that you're interested in, and then for the next 2.5 hours it becomes a bit of a slog because it's just like, I don't really care about what's happening. This, because it split up the bits that you care about to put them all over the show, it made the whole show just flow a lot better. Like, genuinely, I'm loving the way that they're redoing things, and I hope that they continue to do it the way they are now because it's way better.
I mean, I sort of move on. Sheamus defeated Bronson Reed, and then Sheamus then was going to be attacked by Bronson Reed. By the way, Sheamus has got new music. Sheamus was going to be attacked by Bronson Reed, but Pete Dunne came out to save him, and then Pete Dunne got all cross and sulky, and he buggered off anyway. And then he came back and started fighting, and then he started beating up Sheamus.
And then he came back and jumped Sheamus as well. Yeah.
So that was weird.
Pete Dunne heel turn. Which I'm okay with. I think Pete Dunne's better as a heel, so
I agree.
and as far away as from Tyler Bate as possible. Tyler Bate is just a charisma vacuum. Sorry, it just.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's just very, very boring.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Listen, Dudley.
We will briefly touch on the women from last night. That's mental. Sonya Deville beat Zelina Vega, which led into them then that turning into a tag match later on with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark on Sonya's team, and Katana Chance and Kaden Carter and Lyra Valkyria are all out later on.
Look at Dan being better at names than me. Why don't you do this bit?
Well, I kind of am. It became a bit of a mess, a bit of a... All right, I'm not fussed about what happened with the women last night, except from Rhea Liv. And okay, it's nice that Sonya's got a bit of a tag team going with Zoe and a little stable going with Zoe and Shayna.
But it's not something for the pay-per-view. Like, they're not going to put it on SummerSlam. So it's just stuff that's going to be on the weekly shows, which is fine.
Filler.
And not only that, but it's got the potential to be a pre-show match, which I'd be okay with.
Maybe one day. Maybe they'll treat us to one day.
Yeah.
Damian Priest, Gunther, they had their face-off ahead of SummerSlam. With a lot of trash talk, a lot of savagery, sort of cutting things, but like I said, none of it was heel sort of commentary from Gunther, really. It was just quite honest.
I was being a little bit sarcastic.
No, he wasn't.
He was quite horrible with some of the stuff he said.
He wasn't at all. He wasn't at all.
He called him street trash and said that his parents were useless. It was pretty horrible, Dan.
Do you know Damian Priest's parents? But no. But the leading up to that,
he might have terrible parents.
So he had one line where it was a bit like, oh, and that's basically the end of the thing, and that's the whole point of it. But all the rest of it,
when I watched it though, I felt like, yeah, you still need that mouthpiece. It doesn't. Gunther's promos don't really work for me, and I also felt at the end of it, I know because he obviously. Priest has a match with Strowman, doesn't he? And he beats him.
Does clean.
And then Gunther comes out. He does, yeah. And then Gunther comes back out, and there's a bit of a back and two between them, but Priest manages to fend him off. I thought Gunther would win at SummerSlam, but now after watching the promo and the bit after I don't think
me and Dan had the exact same conversation on stream during it last night, and honestly, the fact that Priest was able to fend off Gunther after having a match against Strowman, for me, made Gunther look a little bit weaker. And
it's a big thing, really, for their feud, I think.
Yeah, but I don't get me wrong. Priest 100% needed to beat Strowman for that match to be relevant. For him to solidify himself as a genuine threat to Gunther, he needed to beat Strowman clean. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned. I don't get me wrong. I still think Gunther should win. But his promo work last night, it's almost like they don't know where his character is at the moment and what he's doing. Like, his promo work while he was the champion as the Intercontinental Champion was amazing. Mm-hmm. His promo work last night as the challenger was a bit... okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe it's just as simple as he needs to win the title at SummerSlam so that he can go back to having good promos and being back on top of things.
Well, some people are. Some people are better as champions, aren't they?
They are genuinely, yeah. Some people are better challengers, some people are better champions. It's normally the heels are better champions. It's a fact.
Drew McIntyre coming back,
mm-hmm.
promising not to be... If he just apologises to the refs, then he won't be suspended anymore, and then he can have his match with CM Punk eventually. And he didn't. Simply put,
we're in a holding pattern, aren't we? 100%. We're in a holding pattern with this whole story.
I think you nailed it.
Punk's still injured. He can't come back. He's not going to be back in time for SummerSlam. But they're still holding just in case he is.
Yeah.
Which is why we ended up with what we ended up in this segment, which was Seth Rollins coming out. I know I've jumped the gun and jumped us forward a little bit in what happened with that, but
it's much of a muchness about where that is. So
it was. So I think if Punk's not cleared for SummerSlam, we're going to get Seth versus Drew at SummerSlam instead. Which is okay, but I'm very confused because it means that if we do get Punk back for SummerSlam, Seth's not on the card.
I don't mind it though if he has one off. In all fairness,
no, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been out for injured he was out injured for quite a while there. But if he doesn't have a match, well.
Ideally, you want it to sort of mean something, not just as a filler. Really, you don't. I'd be alright with him to not be in it. To be fair.
Yeah. But hey ho, that's the way it is at the minute. And it's all right. It was all right. It was an all right segment. People loved it, but so then next up we had probably it's up there. It's really up there as one of the best moments of the night. That Rowan promo was brilliant. It was so heartfelt and really passionate, and obviously there's the real him. That promo that I thought that he did last night.
It was really, really good.
Sadly, it's probably the best promo he's ever done, which is awful, but
ironically, it's probably the best promo I ever will do, because it's
true.
They're using real. that real life. It's.
And I kind of think that's part of how this whole Wyatt Six thing is going to work. That realism, that tapping into genuine feelings and emotions of obviously from what's gone on. I think it can only elevate it to a bigger place than perhaps we thought it would go. I like that realism in wrestling at times. I don't want it littered with the stuff, do you know what I mean? But it's got a time and a place, and I think
we don't need promos about Natalia's sister's OnlyFans, but at the same time,
don't we?
No, we don't. We don't need promos about it, but also, we don't need to hear about how Davey Boy Smith was a raging meth head. It's
correct.
But at the same time, I agree. The little sprinkles of the real lifeness stuff is really good. I'm sick of hearing about CM Punk's dog Larry, though. That can go away and never be heard from again. Not the dog. The dog's probably really nice and fine, but it has got no relevance to wrestling whatsoever, and I just wish it would go away.
I know what you mean.
Well, after this promo, we had the Uso Mysterio stuff, and then we've already spoke about that, and then we had Chad Gable being the smartest man in the room come out. So he says,
"Smartest man in the room."
I've solved it. Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas. And we were like, fair play, man. Fair play. That is genius. Some grade A level genius.
That's Phil levels of intelligence now, isn't it?
Calls out Bo. Right, this is the bit that gets me. Calls out Bo. Bo comes out. No music. Bo comes out. The crowd don't know who Bo Dallas is. I swear. The crowd were the worst thing last night on Raw. Bo starts walking down. Beaten up by the Creed brothers. Huge moment. No pop.
No reaction at all.
Absolute dead pop. Which was just mental. And then he got sort of beaten up, thrown back towards the ring. The whole time he's getting beaten up. He's sort of smiling and chuckling to himself. And then he does the laugh. Yeah.
Oh.
And obviously shades of Brody Lee, Bray Wyatt, all did add a little go on that little moments, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was Luke Harper's thing for a long time, and then obviously Bray did it for Luke after Brody passed, and
so it was like a bit of a double whammy. which was very cool. They were like, "Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?" Very cool, very cool. And then music, lights hit, bronk, bronk. Smoke starts filling the stage, the ring. Wyatt Six start sort of rolling out, and Chad and the Creeds were like, "Nah, I'm not about this." And
Chad dipped first, and then it took a couple of minutes, and then the Creed brothers just both sort of looked around, realised Chad wasn't there, and went, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, they were like, "Nah, we're not about this either." Very good segment, and we had Wyatt Six in the middle of the ring, but with Bo Dallas, not with Uncle Howdy, which I thought was quite cool because I think that means we're gonna have them float in between the two.
Yeah,
which I like, which is what I said in the first place. I'm not so sure about them. I don't know. I still would like it that they are themselves most of the time, and Wyatt Six comes out every so often, and it's like a state of mind.
A fiend.
A Finn.
Oh,
demon.
not a fiend.
Yeah, a demon.
Yeah. Demon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly how it should be. It should be that it's a state of mind, and they come out when they're needed. In that scenario, okay, it's needed to sort of say that hey, this is where we don't mind mixing it up, and that some of us might be Wyatt Six, some of us might be our regular selves. At any given moment, which I quite liked.
The production of this entire segment was unreal. Like the camera shots, the fact that we could pick up the sound from Bo's laugh, like everything was done spot on for this entire thing. And it was honestly this should have been, by the way, the close of the show. Like this, Dan said it at the time,
100%.
and he's 100% right. Like there was a match after this, which we'll get to in a minute, I'm sure. But this should have been the end of the show.
Well, we even had the moment with Nikki Cross's characters on the face on the screen where it goes like does the like jump scare. That's where it should have ended.
Yeah, and we got the Bo did Bray's old taunts as well, where he does the arms out like he used to do for the Wyatt family when the Wyatt family were all together.
Yeah.
And I was saying when they were first on the ramp and they kind of all form into one silhouette, it looks like a giant monster. Like like the visual aspect of everything about them is just spot on, down to a T. It looks so good, and I can't wait to see what's coming with this. All I really can't. It's so fun.
I also like it very, very muchly. Something that I do not like very, very muchly, though, to be honest, was I was a bit disappointed with how the main event sort of went and was going to go.
Just so predictable, wasn't it?
Yeah. Braun got sent home earlier on the night. Was told to go home. He left the building, no problem. Security guards were sent to follow him just to make sure he left, and then Braun came back, and apparently there was no security guards anywhere. Like they hadn't even seen him. But that match had already started between Sami Zayn and Dragunov, and the match itself was all right. We had a nice haluva kick to the
on the apron, wasn't it?
On the apron,
which I didn't expect. It was really good.
There was a couple of great spots, but predictable. That's how I felt about Raw's ending, which was a shame because Braun getting involved and ruining it. Somehow Braun's going to get
It's going to become a triple threat. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Which, to be fair, triple threat match between those three guys would be great. Like, really, really good. But it's not a main event. It's a mid-card. It just is. The only reason that I can see this being booked as the main event for Raw was because it was a title match. It was the most significant, it was the most kayfabe, the most important thing on the show.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah. I feel the same.
It made it from a fight perspective, from a serious sports perspective, it made sense for that to be the main event. From an entertainment perspective,
completely wrong.
It's the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's sort of how Raw finished, and that was that. Shall we move to just the sort of general chit chat and sort of catch up on some news?
Well, the list that's been compiled here, I'm quite disappointed with. I'm not going to lie, because there's only one thing that we should be.
Go on, then. Go on.
Natalia has signed a new WWE deal.
It's on the list.
No, yeah, he said it's just.
But it's not top of the list. It should be the first thing
I'll
we're
be
going
honest.
with.
A lot of this news is just sort of generic news. I think we can we'll have a little chat, but
She signed before Money in the Bank, and she hasn't been seen since she signed. So
doesn't bode well.
yeah.
SmackDown are going to a 3-man booth though.
Yeah, Joe Tessitore.
Where do I know this name from? Joe Tessitore. Did he commentate for boxing, and has he appeared on Knockout
Yeah,
Games?
sure. I've no idea, mate. Maybe.
Probably.
It's not.
All right, fine.
He's one. He's the Monday Night Football guy. He's another one that's just come in. He's not anything to do with wrestling as such. It's a weird one. But yeah, he's mainly college football guy.
I mean, neither was Pat, and Pat's great. So,
well, I'm hoping this guy has more interest in wrestling than Pat's mates do, because they have none.
oh, Pat's mates, the guys
terrible.
that are going to be in the DLC for 2K24, but just
joke.
random, so
It's a
random.
It's a joke. But yeah, so he's coming in. So we're having a 3-man booth on a 2-hour show, but a 2-man booth on a 3-hour show.
I still think that's the right way around. I know you said that it should switch, but I still think that's the right way around, because I think that Pat and Michael Cole, just as Pat and Michael Cole are fine as they are.
Yeah, but I think it should be on SmackDown, is my point, rather than Raw.
Just to go back to Joe, he was the voice of Fight Night boxing games.
Okay.
Oh, there we go then. What about RefCam? RefCam, we bothered?
All for it.
So it's just for me, it's just another angle, isn't it, that we can use.
It's
Main
just
events.
another thing that they can use. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
anything that can be used.
We'll see how it looks. I think is the thing when they test it. Like, and until they've done it and tested it and seen how well it works.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's not been done before, so it could be great. It could be absolute crap.
It's not. Is it something that you want to see all the time through a Raw, as an example? I don't. I think it should be.
Well, I don't want to watch a
specific
3-hour show
matches.
from ref's point of view. No.
No.
No, but if it's to be in every match, I mean, do you know what I mean?
I think they're only ever going to use it for like main, like big moments, aren't they? So
That's fine.
but again, I'm guessing. I don't know. They haven't given any real information to it. It's just something that's being discussed within themselves. So they've probably not made the decisions themselves at this point.
Mm-hmm. Stephanie Vaquer, signed from WWE, from CMLL, whatever. I have no idea who she is. I'll be completely honest.
CMLL.
Yeah.
So she's a Mexican wrestler. Apparently very, very good. I've not seen much of her myself. But she was a big deal that she'd come onto the open market, and within a week of her being announced as being on the open market, she'd already signed with WWE and had her first match in on the Super Show that they've just had in Mexico.
Fair
I had heard though that there was big interest from AEW as well. Apparently they were close to agreeing something. I could be wrong. I'm sure I've heard.
There's definitely bad blood between her and AEW at the moment.
Yeah, that would make sense then, I guess.
Izzy Dame challenged for the TNA knockouts I'm seeing here, with Jordan Grace retaining. No real surprise there. Io Sky appearing in Marigold. What's Marigold?
Marigold is the new Japanese promotion that's been made by
Some Japanese person.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but they've been working with WWE from the start. But obviously that's where Julia is.
I see, yeah.
Who has just signed with WWE, but they've agreed that she's going to stay and help Marigold launch before she comes across.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's going to be essentially a territory style company in Japan that WWE is going to use as a feeder program, I think, in the future. But it is, I believe, it's just women's wrestling.
Fair enough. Kairi Sane staying over in Japan at the minute, helping out, whatnot, with Io Sky, like that. AJ Styles appeared in Noah as well.
Yeah.
Lots of Japanese stuff.
Forgot about this match.
Yeah, Naomi
Marufuji.
Marufuji had a match against AJ Styles. Great match, by the way. from all accounts, and from what I've seen of it myself. I haven't seen the whole thing, but from what I've seen of it myself, it was a really good match.
I'd like to see it. I reckon that would be a banger.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be about. You'll be able to find it quite easily, but.
And yeah, shall we move on to our week in wrestling this week then? So this is a segment from Phil. Phil, you've got something?
It is. Yeah. So I think I commented on one of the, was it the last podcast that we did? We was looking for
ideas.
Maybe potentially new ideas and stuff. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily have gone with this particular one. But it is literally, so it's the week, this current week that we're in now. So anything that happened particularly good in this particular week. The one I would have gone with is actually 2000 it would have been 2011. Punk left with the title.
Oh, but today,
when we was discussing, today. We've gone with on July the 17th. So again, tomorrow, when this comes out, in 2007. I get confused. It's not hard, is it? Let's be honest. But anyway, on the 17th of July 2007, the Great Khali would become World Heavyweight Champion as a Smackdown taping, winning the 20-man Battle Royal held to determine a new champion. After reigning title holder Edge suffered a torn pectoral muscle the week prior and would have been out for action for what at the point was an undetermined amount of times.
And thus began Link's hatred of belts being held upside down.
So I watched this match this morning again. And
did you?
And yeah, Carly holding the belt upside down, just my blood boiled. Yeah,
it's the one moment. It's the one moment I remember from this that he held it upside down. It's so funny.
Hate it. It boiled down to three men: Kane, Batista, and Carly. And Carly eliminated them both at the last second. It was an okay match. I love battle royals. I've always loved battle royals. The reason that I kind of told Phil to go with this one over the other one was because it saves them for other weeks, because we've got, we'll do this next year. We can do Punk next year. We don't have to do it now. However, when I watched the match earlier on, I also realised that this was a SmackDown taping in Laredo that happened on the 17th and aired on the 20th. So this is actually next week.
Controversial. We got.
But you say that it falls in this week, doesn't it? So does it still not count?
No, that's this week. 20th would be on Saturday. Yeah, that's this week.
And when was the Punk one?
Tomorrow. So the Thursday.
Tomorrow.
So again, they're both there.
Okay.
That's
yeah. So we are going. We're going for the week that's coming, not the week that's just gone.
We will, and we'll try and bring up more stuff. I think that'll be good. Right, your moments of the week, boys. Mine personally would be the continuous booking for SummerSlam. It's starting to look like it's going to be stacked up very nicely.
I can't wait for Slam. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What about you guys?
It's got to be Bo Dallas's. Yeah. Just. I don't know. It kind of breaks me every time, like and watching him hit that last night. I was just like, oh god, like,
yeah.
I was a huge fan of Luke Harper in WWE. I think Luke Harper was a big deal and should have been much bigger than he was. And to move forwards, to go back to having some memory of him back and actually actively used on the roster, it just I'm all for it. I loved it. That was my moment of the week.
Fair dues. Phil, what have you enjoyed this week in particular?
I think Priest beating Braun Strowman was a big thing, and I think it's something that he needs.
He's beating an ex-world champion. I completely agree, mate. It's exactly what he needs.
Yeah. I think he needs to look strong against Gunther, but particularly if he's going to beat him, which I think is the case. So yeah, I thought that was my moment of the week.
Fair enough. I want to talk about my fan sign of the week because I know Link's got one, and I spotted Link's one as well.
Well, let me hit mine first
Go on.
because I think yours is better, if I'm honest. But you saw it first, so I'm gonna let you have it.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't actually see mine.
I shouted it.
You shouted it, and Pat McAfee mentioned it on commentary, apparently. But mine was the Monday Night Meat sign that was in the crowd.
That's clever.
I think it's good.
I like that one. Mine was just because it was just last night was not. It was just so sexualized, and the fact that there was a sign about 3 rows back, right in the middle, Dommy Matrix. Oh, Dommy Matrix. I thought that's so clever. That's so brilliant. I loved it. Spot on sign of the week. So whoever had that, if you see this, fair play, well done.
By the way, something we didn't mention about the whole Dom Rhea thing. The channeling of Eddie Guerrero. Like,
yeah, it's been going on for weeks, hasn't it?
yeah, but like it was stepped up a bit last night. Obviously, Dom literally called her Mamacita at one point.
Yeah.
And Rhea was wearing a very China-esque attire last night as well.
And he brought out the Rose to apologise as well.
And the Rose was very much an Eddie thing, yeah. Yeah, it was very, very, very reflective of that whole thing back in the day. So it was really cool. Sorry, we've gone back off topic. Carry on.
That's all right. So for my prediction for the next week as well, somehow Pierce is going to suspend Braun, right? Right, hear me out. He's going to suspend Braun, but only to appear by the end of the show on Raw, and somehow in that segment end up with an IC title match at SummerSlam, despite him being suspended. It's going to be the most stupid thing as to how that's going to happen, and it's not going to make sense. But I mean, if it gives us Sammy, Dragunov, and Braun, I'm all right with it. To be honest with you,
I don't even not see that happening. That's definitely a possibility, mate. It's kind of one of them, isn't it?
It's very, very strange. Very strange.
My prediction kind of vary. It's kind of dependent on something. So I'm going to predict that the Bloodline are going to take out Kevin Owens. So essentially, they took out Randy this week. They're going to take out Kevin next week. Yeah. It depends on whether Kevin's back or not. If Kevin's not back, obviously it can't happen. So
okay,
Phil, have you got anything?
I like that. Yeah, mine will be. We'll see Gunther look really strong.
On Raw?
Thinking that on Raw, so you'll think, all right, so the likelihood is now he's going to beat Priest, and then him and Priest beating Gunther at SummerSlam looks even better. That's my prediction.
I think so. I think that's very. Sorry, no, I think so. I don't know. So I think that's a good prediction. Is what I was trying to say. Wow, another hour podcast. Anyway, boys, I was expecting half an hour. We chatted
completely expected it to be an hour. I'm not gonna lie. I said to Pete last week, I think it'll be at least an hour, like every week.
But that's only because Raw was so funny last night.
Yeah,
and to be fair, AEW was good. If AEW had been a bit naff and Raw had been a bit naff, it would have been a lot shorter. In all fairness, I'm
going to be honest as well. We only covered half of AEW because I didn't cover Collision at all. Because obviously I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So.
Yeah, most of the good happens on Dynamite anyway. From what
I wish that was true, mate. I wish that was true. A lot of the stuff's like on both at the moment. I know the 6-man trio tag titles got vacated this week or last week on Collision, which obviously we haven't mentioned, which didn't make any sense, by the way, because Wheeler Yuta's still the other champion and hasn't defended his title in God knows how long. The tag titles got defended by Samoa Joe, even though Samoa Joe wasn't a tag team champion. But they won't let someone who's part of the stable in Bullet Club Gold defend the title. So it's a very weird situation. I don't understand it.
Well, I got 3 letters that'll help explain it all.
AEW.
Yeah. But as always, guys, make sure that you do leave a like, share, subscribe on this video, turn on that notification bell, and be notified every single time we have a wrestling upload. And as always, boys, thank you very much, and we will catch you in the next one.
Players.
Peace. Bye. Phil's fully sat there waiting for see ya.